Question number 17. Find all the zeros of the equation 3x to the fifth minus 3x to the fourth minus 72x to the third plus 72x squared minus 75x plus 75 equals 0. So find all the zeros. That means if this, basically it means solve for x, and you should expect to have up to 5 possible choices since this is degree 5. Okay? So typically, if it was a quadratic equation like this, you would try to get it to factor or go to the quadratic formula. Okay, but this has got a higher degree. So with these, you're going to want to start with synthetic division. You're going to start looking for numbers that you think might be a root. Use synthetic division to determine if they give you a remainder of 0 or not. But how do we know where to start? All right, there are some theorems and ways to help you figure out how to get started with this, but it's still a pretty broad range of things to try. So go to your calculator and type, go to your y equals button on your calculator and carefully type this entire thing in here. Make sure that you double check to see that you've typed it all in correctly before you go any further, because it's a lot to type in and it's easy to make a mistake. But once you've got it all typed in, go to the graph. Okay? Based on this, all right, it looks like we've got an x-intercept here, here, and here. All right, now this one looks like it crosses right at -5. So I'm going to see if -5 is a root. I'm going to set up my synthetic division, put -5 out here, put in my coefficients, 3, -3, -72, 72, -75, 75. Okay, bring down the 3, multiply, that's -15, add, that's -18, -5 times -18 gives me 90. 90 minus 72 is 18. -5 times 18 is -90. 72 minus 90 is -18. -5 times -18 gives me 90. -75 plus 90 is +15. -5 times 15 is 75. -75. Add, I get remainder of 0, okay? Since I have a remainder of 0, that means that -5 is a root. So if I look at my choices, if I find anything that does not have -5, I can eliminate that. Okay, but I still got 3 left. Okay, so what does this mean if we find we got -5? It means that this is the first step of getting this big guy to factor. So this is, if -5 is a root, then that means that we have a factor of x plus 5. And then what's left? Well, these are the coefficients of the remaining polynomial. We started out with x to the fifth, now we're working on x to the fourth. So we're going to write 3x to the fourth minus 18x to the third plus 18x squared minus 18x plus 15 equals 0. Okay. This is still too big to try to factor. Okay, I've got to get it down to 4 terms before I can start thinking about the grouping method. So we're going to take this polynomial and now we're going to type it into the calculator. So we're going to go back to the y equals button. We're going to clear out the previous equation and we're going to carefully type in the new one. So we need to type in 3x to the fourth minus 18x to the third plus 18x squared minus 18x plus 15. And before I go on, I'm going to double check. So 3x to the fourth minus 18x to the third. Okay, looks good, so I'm going to go to graph. And we patiently wait what does it look like we have for a x-intercept? It's kind of hard to tell for sure because it's kind of bending in here. So let's go to the table, the second table, or second graph to get to your table. Okay, so you want to see when does y equal 0. Y equals 0 here when x equals 1. So let's see if 1 agrees with the synthetic division. Okay, so if 1 is a root, then we'll put it out there, set it up like this. And we will put these coefficients inside the box now. So 3, negative 18, positive 18, negative 18, 15. Bring down the 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. 1 times negative 15 is negative 15. 18 minus 15 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. 1 times negative 15 is 15. We have a remainder of 0. So 1 is a factor. That means we can further factor what we've done. So we found x plus 5 already. Now we can write x plus 5 times x minus 1 times, and then here we'll put the first coefficient, and we're going to start with x to the, we've gone from x to the 5th originally. This was x to the 4th, now we're at x to the 3rd. Minus 15x squared plus 3x minus 15 all equals 0. Okay? Now here, I notice I've got 4 terms. I'm like, maybe I can get this thing to factor by grouping. So we'll check. So looking at the first 2 terms, I've got a common factor of 3x squared. So that leaves x minus 5.